All right. So let's see. we're gonna discuss some logic here. So we all have a problem, right? The problem is the ringing, and there are many methods to address the problem. And the question is, so our first question is, how will we choose what methods to do, right? And there is a subconscious methodology we are all using as humans to taking decisions in life, and there's a way to know that methodology, to reveal that methodology, right? I can delve deep into how I revealed what we subconsciously use to decide, but I can just tell you. So basically, the way we choose to implement a method is based on our perceived, so it has to be perceived effectiveness, right? We don't choose to do anything that, we don't believe is effective, but then we multiply the effectiveness, right, with what we perceive as the probability. Right? You could say that they're kind of the same, but effectiveness refers to basically how much of a result you get, and the probability is how probable it is that you will get the perceived effectiveness, right? So now, if you get the effectiveness to 100% and the probability to 100%, then you say, yeah, of course I'm going to do that, right? So basically, this is the perceived gain. But the motivation to do something, is correlated with the perceived gain, but it's inversely correlated or proportional to something else. And that something else, of course, is the perceived, like bad stuff. So what do I mean by bad stuff? Well, there is effort, and then there is cost, and then there's perceived, like time delay. Like all of those concepts are, it can be logically proven, but I'm not going to spend time to prove them. So whenever we do something in life, like even the action of listening to this video has a motivation behind it, right? The reason why you don't stop it. It has to do with the subconscious processing of each of those 5 dimensions, right? So each of those in themselves are not correlated with one another. They are independent dimensions, and our brain uses them to come up with an emotion, and we call that emotion, in this case, motivation. Certain other emotions play other roles. I don't know, like there's a wide range of negative feelings that come from the fact that we feel like we can't make progress towards a perceived desire. But strictly speaking about motivation, because it's important, right? It's important because this is at the very foundation of whether you will choose to do dry fasting to cure the ringing or anything else, right? Okay, so let's address the dry fasting dimensions, right? Now, before we address the dry fasting 5 dimensions, let's talk about how you would like, ideally to be the case, right? So ideally, you would want the ringing to be finished like in the next second, right? That would be ideal. What would be like a method? Well, a method would be like, let's say you take a pill like right now, and in the next second you get healed, right? So what does that have, right? So if somebody promises you that pill, right, it promises the effectiveness of it to be 100%, probability 100%, effort is 0, as long as they make it free, and since there's no time delay, you can see how you will do that no matter what, right? Oh, of course, I forgot about the 6th dimension, which is side effects, right? I didn't think about it. So we also have side effects. And if the pill doesn't have side effects, then we don't hesitate. Now, if somebody makes the pill more expensive, then we might hesitate, right? But we're still going to take it. If they make the pill expensive and say you have to take it for 2 months, well, it's, again, not as appealing. So you see, we're making less and less appealing. And then if we say, okay, cool, but you have to take the pill like every hour of the day, the cost stays the same and the time delay stays the same, like 2 months, you can see how the appeal goes away. And then if we say, oh, and it also comes with some side effects, right? You get like some skin damage. The appeal goes away, and then we make the probability, let's say 5% of you getting the ringing done. So you see the motivation goes away, and we say the effectiveness is that, it's just going to cure 20% of your ringing, right? So you see how we take some concept and we take it from 100% motivation to barely nothing, just because of those 6 dimensions, right? Now, I'm making this example to illustrate to you that dry fasting is right now in your head a concept, right? It's not like you don't have the representation of the truth, because, yeah, I mean, it will take us 1,000 hours to talk about what truth is, but you only get a mental model of something, right? Or a mental construct based on a mental model, right? Now, in this case, your mental model of dry fasting is based on those 6 dimensions and many others, right? But those are the significant 6. Because I also shown you how much I can influence the motivation of a method by modifying those 6 dimensions. So let's talk about your mental construct of dry fasting right now in your mind, right? So right now, you perceive the effectiveness and the probability of you getting cured with dry fasting at a certain scale from 0 to 100, right? So let's say that you think that anywhere between 0 to 100 about the effectiveness, right? And the probability, right? So let's say that the gain perception from 0 to 100 is around here. Okay, and right now the cost is is nothing, because you don't pay money to the dry fasting. And then there's the time delay component, right? Let's say that if you're serious about it, you can get cured really fast. And then there's the effort component, right? Now, in your perception right now, probably the effort and the time delay components multiply to one another. They're here, right? So the bad stuff, right? Now, based on those graphical illustrations, right, your motivation from a scale from 0 to 100, it's going to be, I don't know, you have 30 points, right? And the more you talk to people that have done dry fasting and have cured themselves, or the more confident somebody says dry fasting works, and the more you regard somebody as an expert, right? Those are all like triggers in your mind. Like, we've evolved to develop certain triggers, right? 3 of them are how many people talk about that, how sure are them, like the confidence level, and how much of an authority you believe they are, right? But we want to escape this illogical heuristics of the mind, and we want to be completely logical, right? So you can see how if we right now increase the perceived gain, like the effectiveness and the probability of you getting cured, to, let's say, 100%, and we reduce everything that you consider bad, like effort, cost, time delay, side effects, to 0, you can see how you're going to start dry fasting, like right now, like right in this moment you're going to start it, right? And the only reason why you don't start it is because here we don't have 0 and here we don't have 100%, right? So now that I've explained the first step, which is the theory of the dimensions, I'm going to tackle each one of them, right? So you can't get more logical than this, right? This is like irreducible, and this will affect the rest of your days, no matter what else you see, right? It's not like somebody will say something that will disvalidate this, right? So this will be evergreen. You can't unsee what I'm gonna show you, and you can't unsee that if we modify those dimensions, then we get you to amp up the motivation to the moon. So first of all, let's heighten the perceived, the probability, and the perceived effectiveness, right? So there are people. Okay, so here's how we're gonna approach this. These are all the people that got tinnitus, right? Now, those are people that have not done dry fasting. And those are people that have done dry fasting, right? Now, people have done dry fasting, and they have talked to forums, and they have said that, oh, dry fasting didn't work for them. And you also talk to people that have done dry fasting and it hasn't worked for them, right? But there are people that say it worked for them, right? So if we just say, oh, from the amount of people that have done dry fasting, for some it works, for some it doesn't, then yeah, sure, I mean, you can say that. But if we add an extra component, you're going to see something, right? So we're going to divide this into the people that have done dry fasting properly, and people that have done dry fasting like wrongly or ineffectively, right? And then we can ask ourselves, what the hell does it mean to do it wrongly, and what does it mean to do it properly, right? Like, we're no experts, but we can know some information, right? We can know that the stem cell production starts happening, 60-70 hour range, depending on whether you have glycogen in the system or whether you depleted your sodium before, right? All of those nice things. So if you don't enter the dry fasting properly, and if you don't at least wait for this amount of time, then of course you won't get any results, right? So so this is a principle, because if you hear anybody say that dry fasting hasn't worked, and you find out that they haven't spent at least 60 hours in the dry fast, then those people haven't done dry fasting properly. I mean, there are multiple principles, right? But just the fact that they haven't followed one like dismisses them from doing it properly. Like they need all the principles, right, in order to do it properly. Otherwise, it fails. So I have talked to I don't know 30 plus people that have tinnitus and have done dry fasting, because you know, it's pretty hard to find people that have done the dry fasting and have tinnitus, right? It's pretty hard, and also it's hard for them to kind of like online respond to you, right? So anyway, I managed to get the response and to get into personal conversation with 30 plus people that have done dry fasting and had tinnitus, right? Now I contacted like hundreds, right? But 30 of them have had a conversation of more than 20 minutes with me. And it was enough of a conversation to find out whether they have done it properly or not. Okay, so first of all, I kind of saw how people that haven't done it properly didn't get results, right? Now I'm gonna tell you something. From the category of people that have done dry fasting properly, probably there's 6 that I've encountered out of the 30, right? So it's just an approximation, right? Those 6, it's not like I'm modifying the terminology of what it is to do it properly, right? But just the fact that those guys haven't done the 60-70, right? I mean, how could they get results? Anyway, so those people that have done it properly, 100% of them got cured. 100, right? That's why I say, let's not talk about dry fasting as a method reported by people that have attempted to do dry fast. Let's make the very important distinction of seeing whether the people that say that they have done dry fasting have done it properly or not. And the people, we dismiss the guys that say they haven't done it properly. They don't explicitly say, but we ask them how they did it, and we find out that they didn't do it properly. And we find out that, yeah, 100% of people that attempted dry fasting while having tinnitus, while doing it properly, have got silence. 100%, including Liam. Liam has said himself that he has tried everything, but nothing worked. And then he's done 4 days, 4 times 4 days dry fasting, and he got a cure after the 4th day, right? So even Liam, separately from those 6 that I've talked to, right? Now, as I've shared before, some snippets of motivation are here of the conversation, and this is from you. I mean, I didn't talk to this guy, but yeah, and there are some other 2 that I don't find them, so you can pause the video. Yeah, and we also have Liam, of course. So now that I told you this, what the hell? Okay. You can see how, if you spend time thinking about what I just said, you will see how your perceived gain switches, because now you know that, you know a distinction, that you have to look at people that have done it properly. So now this gain goes here, or here. Your belief right now has changed to believing it in more. Okay? Now, how can we make you believe even more? Well, you can look at the science of it, why it works, right? Let's just say that people have used dry fasting to to heal like bone injuries, like bone and ligament and whatever, right? So those are structures, like hard structures. Don't you think that it's going to go there and the stem cells and the chaperone-mediated autophagy will fix the biological damage in your cochlea or in your neurons, right? Especially since we know that there's neuroplasticity and all of that stuff, right? So you can look into the science of it to increase the perceived gain even more. But yeah, that's my that's kind of like my rant to increase your perceived gain. So now the second step is to decrease your perceived effort, okay? Because right now, of course, you're gonna approach this in a way that's not entirely good, not entirely effective, and you're gonna get a lot of pain from it. And yeah, you're pretty much anticipating the painful future. So this anticipatory thought of a painful future combined with right now a more increased perception of gain is better than what you had at the beginning of the video, right? You have more motivation, like you can check emotionally right now that it has done something to you. So if I can show you how the 3 dimensions, which are effort, cost, time delay, and side effects, are pretty much 0, then we're gonna get you pumped up like a monster to do dry fasting, okay? And right now, the only reason why you're looking at other methods or considering reading other books or talking to people is either because, I mean, this has been the case all the time, right? You were either unsure, that's why you needed more proof, right? But I hope I've given you enough proof so that you don't waste time with that anymore. And remember that all you've done is to basically operate on the dimension of the gain, right? On the effectiveness and probability of it working, right? So now that we've addressed this, then you have to see it logically that the only reason why you would look for something else is because it has less of an effort. Why? Because, you know, to be honest, like if you do dry fasting properly, you can get cured in, let's say, a minimum of 3 weeks. And if you do it properly, it would be, let's say, you know, it's not like you're going to do it continuously, but it's like 2 months from now, complete cure, right? So realistically, like no method out there like gives you this, right? I mean, sure, you can say, yeah, I'm going to get a surgery and whatever, right? But what are the side effects there? There's huge side effects, right? So the time delay is pretty good. So we have good time delay, right? The side effects are 0. Actually, if you do dry fasting, you're gonna heal your body from so many other things, like from insulin resistance, right? You're gonna stimulate your brain to repair a bunch of neurons. You're gonna fix a bunch of cartilage things. You're gonna fix your skin, right? Yeah, bone density, right? So side effects are 0. Cost is 0. So what we have to do is address the dimension of effort, okay? If we can reduce effort as much as possible with the fact that we've kind of addressed the gain as much as possible and increased it as much as possible, combining those two things will give you the motivation of a monster to do dry fasting and to stop researching any other thing or reading any other thing out there, right? There's another reason why you would read something out there in order for you to know how to properly do it, right? How to properly do the dry fasting. That's why we got the expert, which is Yannick, that has experimented and knows the science, and he gave us the effective principles. So we're not going to spend time on that. We're not going to spend time on reading books or whatever. He read Villeneuve and all the Phoenix Protocol and many other research papers. So yeah, we're just going to take what he knows, like no use spending time there. And that's it. So gonna pause this recording. This is part 1, and then in the next part we're gonna minimize this effort component to the ground, such that those 2 videos will be enough for you to do the dry fasting. Okay, so next video is gonna be complex because it's not easy to think.